Hello, everybody. We're back.
Hi, we are back.
And today we have two guests, Dr. Amir Hajiyavand and Dr. Ali Sadegh-Zadeh. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Exactly, yeah.
So welcome to our podcast. And to get started, I would really like our listeners to know who you are. Could you introduce yourself briefly and what you're doing?
Sure. Thank you very much. If you don't mind, Ali.
Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Ayan and Fema, for inviting us. I'm Amir. I'm a lecturer at the moment at the University of Birmingham. It's been more than 10 years of experience in developing robotic vision, medical robotics, and application of artificial intelligence for different applications. This is the area of my research, all the way from my PhD, postdocs, and of course, being a lecturer at the university. Pass to you, Dr. Ali.
Okay, yes. Thank you for actually inviting us for today's discussion. I'm Dr. Ali Sadegh-Zadeh, assistant professor at the Staffordshire University. My actually expertise is AI and computational neuroscience. For actually more than 10 years, I'm working on the machine learning and computational neuroscience, especially in the dynamic of brain. And also we are researching actually at the in our research team on the brain actually diseases, mental issues in the human brain. Thank you for inviting us.
Yes, thank you for the introductions. Welcome. It's an honor to have you here. And just so you know, we have this thing going on. A little game. We're doing a bit of a Turing test with the interview usually. So we have different questions. Some of them are generated by a human, and some of them are generated by a AI. So, and at the end of each questions, once you answered them, we're going to check with you if it's AI or human. And we will also discuss two of your papers that you collaborated with. Yeah, so let's dive into it.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to add before
Yes,
we start?
so I just want to also mention I studied at the University of Birmingham. I did artificial intelligence and computer science way back in 2002. So the University of Birmingham holds a very special place for me. And Amir and I are collaborating with my startup, Amir's department, and my startup, which we talked about in episode 2. So Amir is one of our collaborators as a co-investor, him and the engineering department, and one of our as a result of that, sort of advises us as well on some of our strategies for the startup. So it's great to have Amir here, and it's really nice to meet you, Dr. Ali. So we can get started with the questions. So one of the papers you both did was COVID-19 on social and mental health using machine learning, which is really interesting, a really interesting concept. So how would you kind of summarize that paper and the kind of the findings? And then I have a question around that on how would you explain your study on evaluation of COVID-19 pandemic on components of social and mental health using machine learning, analyzing United States data in 2020 to a lay person. So when you do that kind of explanation, if we can consider the lay person, that'd be great.
Sure. I'll start and then I'll pass it to Ali. So I remember, a memory that I had a conversation with Ali on the phone when it was a pandemic. And then the idea behind, understanding what are the factors, affecting on the mental health, a while ago. And then we were thinking of different, environmental influences, on the mental health. And all of a sudden, the pandemic hit. So all of us are appreciated how pandemic, affected us, of course. And then, after a while, when we had the conversation, we understand that, okay, shall we, link these two together and see what would be the influence of the pandemic, all of those stresses, lockdowns, what happened, during those times on the mental health. So we started to look around, and see, of course, because of the pandemic, when it hit, there was a huge publications were out regarding the different influence of pandemics scientifically, or normal, sort of data all available. And then Ali, found the data set and say, okay, now we need to focus and understand what would be the influence of this. So what we wanted to do, we couldn't start to gather the data ourselves, because data sets are gathering the data sets is quite hard, I believe. So we started to use these data sets to understand what are the influences on people, environment, and of course society, and then use this data set to analyze some of those. Ali, would you like to add something to this?
Actually, you described the project perfectly. Thank you for that. Just to complete it, our study uses machine learning and AI techniques to understand how the COVID-19 lockdown in 2020 affected Americans' actually mental and social health. We analyzed survey data, as Dr. Amir mentioned, to find patterns in mental health issues and social interaction changes during the pandemic. That's all I need to actually explain about it.
Okay, that sounds great. So as part of our questions that we're doing, so was that question human or ChatGPT?
I go for human for this round.
Yes, me too. It's human question, I think.
Yeah, it's a human question. Okay, I'll pass Ryan.
Okay, next question. What challenges did you encounter while collecting data for your research?
Dr. Amir, would you like, or I can actually answer to this?
Sure, go ahead, please.
Oh, yeah. We have actually different challenges, to be honest. The challenges encountered while collecting data. Actually, we didn't collect data, but when I studied about the data collection for the research, include dealing with the impact of COVID-19's rapid spread. I don't know if you can remember at that time, the COVID-19 actually spread rapidly around the world, which led to actually widespread social isolation, digital communication, and remote working and education. These changes actually cause significant anxiety, tension, and depression worldwide, presenting a complex environment for data collection for this group. Dr. Amir, do you have any addition to that?
You addressed it correctly, but I wanted to actually expand it in a general way. That data collection usually at this level is a bit hard and time consuming. It requires a lot of ethical approvals and, of course, a lot of challenges to extract the unified answers or accurate answers from the participant, as well as it takes quite a long time, which to gather these data. So for the team like us, when we are developing a sort of a research paper, of course it is valuable for us to develop the data sets. However, we would like to influence shortly, immediately, and that's the reason we are using the current available data alongside the with additional data that we are trying to collect to have a sharp impact at the beginning, and of course, gathering towards the contribution to the science later on. So what we would like to do, data gathering on its own has its own challenges. However, it is very valuable because at some point, I think we require all of these data to not only have a better planning for such a pandemic if it happens at some point, but it can provide us with a good planning for future of the society.
So I do have a follow-up question, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Really curious, right? So you mentioned it is a bit like the ethics of collecting data is quite complex, and I was wondering, can you give like an example how much data you had to collect and how like so to get like an understanding about the breadth of.
This is, to be honest, it really depends on the number of the factors and attributes you want to consider in your study. So more factors or more attributes you want to analyze or find the links between, more data you require, substantial. And it really depends. And you cannot not considering, some of those factors, which is really essential. So there are some strategies of people thinking that, okay, we are analyzing only a few factors to have a less number of the data. However, the links between those data and other, substantial contributors to the outcome is overlooked. So it really, I think it's the art of understanding how many attributes or factors you would like to consider for your study. And then based on that, you model how many data you would require. And of course, all single of those data are valuable, but not usable. You know what I mean? So some of the data may not be possible that we include in our data set. So we have to exclude even as a part of the reviews, Ali, would you like to add anything?
No, it's actually it's complete. I don't have actually further notes to add to this. Actually, to your words.
Okay, thank you. So what this question was: this ChatGPT or human?
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Correct. Fantastic. I
Didn't
can tell you
pass-
later what I found.
Didn't pass the Turing test again. So
It's great.
Okay. So the next question is were there any specific mental health conditions that struggled the most during the pandemic?
Dr. Amir, can I start?
Of course, please.
Yeah. Actually, our study was led by a group of psychiatrists as well, which actually led by Dr. Bahrami, Dr. Mahbub Bahrami, who is actually a psychiatrist. And we could find good patterns, actually hidden patterns in the data. The study actually indicated that individuals with pre-existing mental health conditions were most vulnerable and significantly affected by the pandemic-related lifestyle changes during this period of time. Amir, do you have anything else?
Absolutely true. So when you study these data, and the reason that we used again machine learning, because I think it is beyond human capacity to link the data and all those attributes, together, out of those amount of data. So when we analyze the data, we understand it's a quite significant links between various attributes that we used or utilized in this study. And as Dr. Ali correctly mentioned, that we had studies and understand that most vulnerable people, they were suffer because of the environment, because it's sudden changes, which is really hard to cope. And that was the reason, I think, in the discussion of the paper, we emphasize on those things, just adding mention.
So again, was that human or ChatGPT?
Ali, would you like to go first on this?
Actually, I think it's ChatGPT.
I think it is human.
Amir, you're right. It's human.
Human. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Great.
So, next question. Did you identify any groups that potentially benefited from the pandemic's impact, such as self-isolation?
Mhm. May I start?
Of course, please.
Okay. Actually, the study did not identify any groups that specifically benefited from the pandemic's impact of actually or self-isolation. Instead, it highlighted that individuals or people with pre-existing mental health diagnoses were among the most affected by the pandemic's constraints, suggesting these individuals were particularly vulnerable to the changes imposed by the pandemic. Amir, can you remember anything else?
No, that's correct. Those groups are received those benefits, but this is also a bit of tricky question to answer because that benefits can be classified as different things because it's a bit subjective to people. I would say rather than a benefit, there was some conditions that brought some of those challenges more under the control during the self-isolation, which wasn't under the control, in a normal period of the life.
Thank you. So this question, what's your take?
Okay. Ali, would you like? I go for human again. But
It seems ChatGPT.
So it was human.
Human. Okay.
So next question.
Okay. So the next question is, could your research methods be applied to other areas of health research?
I can take this question if you don't mind. Yes, definitely. And this part of the research, I can tell you, started from another research that we started, I think, a bit a while ago. And that was about understanding different contributors towards infertility. That we started. It had a lot of attributes, and then we had to find the links between them. I'm sure the methods that we used, correct me, Ali, if I'm wrong, but the methods we use to understand the links between these attributes and the influence of each factors and attributes that it has to the outcome is quite usable in another area. Of course, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, all of those are very big names. And when you want to apply it for a certain application, you need to modify them, uh, accordingly. But the technique, I think it is usable for another part of the research, I think with a high number of attributes. If I'm right, Ali.
Yes, I totally agree with Dr. Amir. Actually, my answer it's a yes as well. The research methods utilized actually in our study involving machine learning techniques to analyze social and mental health impacts of COVID-19 can be applied to other areas of health research for predictive modeling. It's important actually predictive modeling in the health science and analysis of various health related issues. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. And so was that question human or ChatGPT?
I was hoping, Fema, you don't ask this question because I'm 50-50 on this. I again go for him.
Human.
ChatGPT.
Oh my goodness.
Last time it passed the Turing test.
That
Congratulations.
one did. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't pass this.
Okay, and the last question on this paper.
Sure.
Did any members of your research team or the study participants experience emotional overwhelm during the study?
Can I pick that?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Actually, the study does not explicitly mention instances of emotional overwhelm experienced by members of the research team or the study participants. It primarily focuses on analyzing the prevalence of mental health issues and their correlation with social relationships during the COVID-19 pandemic in the United States using machine learning techniques. Amir.
I quite agree. I quite agree. Just one line I add to that. I think the study on that particular data to remind us that how situation can change and how the change of the situation can influence on different type of people. And it was I don't want to make it emotional, but it is something to remember. Yeah.
So, what are your takes on this question?
I think that's ChatGPT.
Human.
ChatGPT. But I was a bit more involved in the prompting of this question. The reason why I asked this question, right? Because sometimes as researchers, when we research something that has some energy to it, right? Like the pandemic has been quite difficult for a lot of people. So that was my curiosity, if there was like anything that was difficult. But yeah, thank you for answering.
Okay. Very interesting. Thank you very much.
So the next paper is titled "Exploring Undergraduates' Perception of and an Engagement in an AI-enhanced online course." So to start things off, I'm going to start this time. What insights can you share from your study exploring undergraduates' perception of and an engagement in an AI-enhanced online course for someone unfamiliar with artificial intelligence?
Can I pick that one?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. Actually, the study found that AI-enhanced features in Microsoft Teams, because we use actually Microsoft Teams as a platform of online environment, improved students' online learning experience, enhancing their engagement and their understanding through personalized learning recommendations and real-time feedback. Dr. Amir, do you have any things to add?
No, I actually right. And when we are talking about the AI enhanced, there are different aspects in the current life and current education we need to address. What type of AI, how you introduce them to the undergraduate students, in which level you're introducing to them. When we talk about the online and the difference between online and in person, there are different insights. I think the way, and I think the responsibility that should be on us when we are delivering an AI enhanced solutions or AI enhanced educational approaches to the students, the way that we introduce them and the way that we can set the scene for them would quite enhance also their understanding and their utilizing of the AI, in their field.
So I have a follow-up question, but before, is this ChatGPT or human?
ChatGPT.
For me, ChatGPT as well. It's obvious.
Is it ChatGPT, right? Or
Yes, correct. Sorry, I was nodding, but yes. So my follow-up question on this question is, do you think there is something around, so these students, if I understand correctly, they are on AI programs or are they general students?
I mean, I think they are general question, but they are doing programming, as far as I remember on these data sets.
Yes, exactly.
So they are, sorry, I didn't get it.
Sorry, they're on the course that included the programming. Yes.
Yeah. So do you think there is a general curiosity and interest towards these enhancements for those who participated?
I think there is, and I think there is not. The reason that I answered that there is, because when I remember, not as part of this study, as part of the, I think the follow-up studies that we are trying to publish, when I introduced to them that, okay, this is AI enhanced, and then you're going to use this, and then when I define them, what is the AI, what is the thinking behind, and then how you would use these. And then when I set the scene, or when Ali set the scenes correctly, then they are very interested. But if just touching the point, this is AI enhanced, and say, let's dive into it, that's a bit not welcomed, I would say, of utilizing the AI enhanced systems or AI enhanced educational approaches. Ali, would you like to add
Actually,
anything?
yes. I can add to the Amir's comments. The focus on AI enhancement in online education was driven by the remarkable growth in online education and the significant, how to say, significant opportunities and challenges it presents. This study aimed to explore students' perceptions of synchronous online learning in an AI-enhanced course, highlighting the importance of addressing the challenges while leveraging the benefits of online education technology.
Thank you.
Great. So the next question is, what led you to focus on AI enhancements in online education?
Lifestyle. We have to stay ourselves up to date. I believe the society is changing because of existing AI, and we cannot ignore these changes. We cannot run away from these changes. We have to accept it. I believe from, very similar to the moment that maybe Google was introduced very first time. I think we need to aim how we use these AI systems and then stick to the ethical side of it as well. Because of course AI solutions currently are not perfect solutions, but we still can utilize them in a very correct and positive way.
Anything to add to that, Ali?
No, no more idea. No, thank you.
Okay, I do have a follow-up question, but I just want to ask, do you think that question was ChatGPT or human?
Human.
It's human.
It is human. No, is it human? No, it's
No.
ChatGPT. It's ChatGPT. Oh, yeah.
I was happy at the beginning.
So my follow-up question is that you talked about the ethicals and the ethical implications of AI. Are you able to say more on what some of those might be?
Absolutely. When we are using AI enhanced solutions, AI enhanced systems. Let's talk about ChatGPT. Okay, there are different ways of using it. Okay, you can put a prompt, you can copy paste, and then submit it as your own work, which is ethically not correct. However, and then this is something I'm trying to use or find a way for it, that if the students, if us even as a researcher, understand how we utilize ChatGPT, how much of the information we are getting from ChatGPT is genuine and correct, and how we can use that ChatGPT or appreciate the use of ChatGPT in our text, like if there is appropriate referencing for that, if it's required, or any sort of a forming or formatting of it, I think that makes it more ethical. The way that I meant by using ethical, towards the using the AI assisted technology is we need to appreciate they are using millions of layers of data from the internet, and I'm not sure that they are 100% correct. So if I use it, I need to check if they are correct. What was the prompt towards that? Who was the idea generated? How we can utilize this in our um, intellectual property development, and then we make sure that we have an appropriate referencing towards that.
So in terms of sorry, I'm going on a tangent now, but so we talked about the ethics and like the way that it's generating and it's from all this data, and if a student were to submit that, it's not really their own work. But imagine if the student has come up with their own idea, but they're not able to formulate it, or they need to paraphrase it, and they use ChatGPT to do that. From your perspective, would that be unethical?
It is not, as long as they appreciate or they mention that they use and the level of the use of ChatGPT. If, for example, we come up with the idea and then just we said, prompt it to the ChatGPT, and then it come up with a, 6 different paragraph, and then we just copy and paste it into the report and submit it, that's absolutely unethical. However, if we use, the ChatGPT as a sort of offline, if you like, or online version of tutoring, and try to exchange the idea, data, increase the knowledge, and then use that knowledge towards the submissions, I think that can be ethical. And then we, of course, needs to mention and appreciate the use of ChatGPT as a declaration. So there are different discussions going, in different universities. We did some sort of searching with Ali, and it is interesting how people would like to use ChatGPT in different ways. I think we are thinking, we as Ali and I, that let's use it, let's use it, but in the most appropriate way, by appropriate referencing, make sure our students are up to date with the technology. This is a technology. We cannot run away. We have to accept it. We have to use it, and we have to ethically use it in a correct way. So if they prompt it, then they, extract some data from that, then do the appropriate validation and make sure those data are correct, we can use it. There are some cases, of course, someone says that, okay, we are developing the text, we are using ChatGPT for grammar corrections or improvement in English language or any language. So I try hard to find why we should say this is unethical. And the reason for that is we are using probably Grammarly to sort the grammar. So, or we are using different softwares to sort proofreading for us. And as long as we appreciate the proofreaders in the acknowledgement, then that's ethical. ChatGPT is not far from that. Ali?
Yes, I'm totally agree with you. Actually, I don't have further comment on it. That's it. Yeah.
Yes, this is really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question. What key challenges did you identify about integrating AI into online courses?
Can I pick that one?
Of course, please.
Okay. Actually, our study highlighted challenges in integrating AI, artificial intelligence, into online courses, including issues with the student engagement and the complexity of facilitating effective interaction and collaboration through digital platforms. Amir, do you have anything else?
In addition to that, I think I find it quite challenging, not only for online course, but in-person courses as well, is to convince that use of ChatGPT is not plagiarism itself. Okay, you can look to ChatGPT like Google, you can use it, you need to reference it, you need to make sure the data is generated is genuine, correct, and the way that you can, use those texts are a bit different, but it is not plagiarism. So I personally find it a bit challenging to draw a line between the plagiarism and use of ChatGPT. If, if I can make sense, in this way.
Yes, it is a challenge to find the boundaries. Where is it plagiarism and where is it human input and creativity?
That's
And I
correct.
think it's a huge question that, where a lot of people are scared.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially academias, I think, where referencing is really important, and not to plagiarize, etc.
Absolutely. What I believe is happening at the moment is that transition between the conventional method of research towards the AI enhanced version of research. Okay, now if if people would like to stick to the conventional methods, they are fine. But the speed of development these days using AI is quite fast. And I believe that, like the development in every other field, this needs to be developed fast, and people need to get the knowledge about use of these AI enhanced systems rather than trying to ignore, these transition periods and that.
Okay, this question, what's your take?
ChatGPT.
I think human.
Human.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question is, to what extent did students' perceptions of online learning change with AI improvement?
Ali?
Actually, the study that we have done revealed that AI actually improvements in online learning platforms, especially through Microsoft Teams or platform that we have used, significantly enhanced student engagement and learning experiences. Students appreciated the personalized learning. I highlighted here personalized learning recommendations and real-time feedback provided by AI-enhanced features, leading to more active participation and a better comprehension of course materials.
That's very true. Just one line added to that is the students can have online and every moment available tutoring with using AI. So, of course, imagine that if there wasn't any AI, so usually it takes, sometimes for the academic members to go through the feedbacks, communicate. Everybody has its own time of studies, maybe the other colleagues are not available, but AI is always there, so it assured them if they stuck somewhere, there is something to help.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So, what was that question? Was it human or ChatGPT?
Ali, would you like to go first?
ChatGPT,
GPT, I do agree, ChatGPT.
You both think it's ChatGPT?
I think.
Yeah, it's human.
I appreciate.
That was hard to believe, that particular.
Okay, the next question. How would you describe the limitations of AI in online education based on what you learned from your research?
Can I start, Amir?
Of course, yeah, sure.
Okay. Actually, the study acknowledges limitations in its AI-enhanced online education research, emphasizing the need for larger, diverse samples, incorporating statistical and qualitative models and methods, and exploring AI's role more deeply to enhance finding on online communication and collaboration. Amir, if you would
Absolutely
like.
true. That is the main one, and of course, the transferring the knowledge of the use for the AI enhanced softwares and AI enhanced educations. The student is another one, because always online you have a 2D feelings to transfer, 2D knowledge to transfer, rather than having in person, demonstrations. So I think another challenge is just having, the knowledge transfer.
So, was that human or ChatGPT?
ChatGPT.
It's really difficult, but
Or I'll go for human this time.
I think it's ChatGPT.
It was human.
Okay, perfect.
Did Amir say it was human or ChatGPT?
I said human.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're not getting fooled very easily, are you?
I'll try not.
So the final question we have before we wrap up is, were there any negative effects of AI enhancements on students' learning experiences?
Yes, I believe. Yes, it is. If And I think it is not only sits on students. I believe it sits on educators. So if we cannot, again, set the scene correctly, if we cannot transfer this knowledge to students of how to use ChatGPT, or let's say AI enhanced, softwares, I think there's a possibility that we go in the wrong direction. I believe that we as educators need to get the right educations, that we can have a good transfer of the knowledge to students. It is again like we as an engineer be requested to teach, for example, art or teach medical. If we don't have the knowledge, then it would be really hard for us. But if we get the skills, be trained maybe, or even if we get ourselves trained by utilizing some ChatGPTs, or what we expect to see as an outcome of ChatGPT, probably we are in a better position to transfer this knowledge to the students.
Actually, if we would like to discuss under umbrella of our study, the study on AI enhanced online courses, just this study, did not report negative effects on students' learning experiences. Instead, it highlighted I emphasize here this study. It highlighted that AI features like personalized learning, recommendations, and real-time feedback augmented the learning experience, suggesting a positive impact on student engagement and comprehension of course materials.
Great. So the final Turing test question, was that human or was it ChatGPT?
I vote to ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Correct. It was ChatGPT. So,
Yes.
I just before we close this, today's episode, were there any sort of final thoughts you'd like to share with us about the work that you've both been doing or done?
Ali, would you like to go first?
No, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So actually, first of all, it was very interesting having a conversation, especially, we are guessing that which questions would come from ChatGPT, and which question comes from human. First of all, thank you very much. I think, just I need to make it clear, whatever we discussed today is my personal opinion. I'm not representing my institution here. I quite like this conversation about ChatGPT, because I think the world is changing. I think we need to accept it is there. We need to educate ourselves. We need to make sure that we have a good role model for people using ChatGPT. Let them to learn what is the ethical side of it. Let them to use this tool and then implement their skills and expertise in further development of these tools, rather than just trying to ignore or put them in a box and lock it away. This is my approach, and I'm hoping that I can educate enough myself to have the students, when they walk out of the room that I'm teaching them, they learn how to use ChatGPT in an ethical manner, as they are learning how to use the Google in an ethical manner.
That's amazing, Amir. I think there's always these like polarized views, and I think you're trying to bridge that gap, and I think that's really great. Ali, did you have any final thoughts?
No, thank you very much. I'm okay. Yeah.
And Ian, before we say bye to our guests.
So today was the first time that ChatGPT got away a few times. So we had, it could have scored 12 points based on those 6 questions, and it scored 5, which is impressive, because before, in the previous ones, it was 0. So
Great.
This time I used a prompt to generate the questions by stating, "Can you please phrase the questions in a way that it would pass the Turing test?"
Very interesting.
And
Well,
it
about a
did
12.
like that.
Yeah. So thank you both very much. So
Thank you very much. Can I just say one
go ahead.
before we say thank you very much for recording this podcast? I think this type of podcast helps people to understand the current positions of AI, and then try to accept it by heart. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. That's the kind of message we're trying to put out. So we really appreciate you saying that. And it's been a pleasure speaking to both of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you very much for today's discussion.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.